Peace, shalom. Once again, it's your brother Taj the Doc from Your Best Body Ever. You can just call me Taj for short. And what I wanted to discuss with you today is the first rule that one must acknowledge is one must make adjustments for nutrient ratios by body type to burn fat, lose weight, and build muscle. So again, that first rule that you must adhere to is one must make adjustments for nutrient ratios based upon your body type. And I'll be going over some body types here. With those of you that's actually not familiar, you may not be familiar with the type of body type that you have, but after this video, you should be well familiar with your type of body type based on the type of information that I'm going to give you. You could actually pretty much determine your body type from that. So the right macronutrients amounts can actually vary depending on your body type. See, your goals and your training also must come into play in your training style. Bodybuilders, for example, actually thrive on more protein than people who are sedentary. And that's pretty much someone that sits around most of the time, or you may have a job that actually don't require you moving about. You may just sit down at an office job. Well, that's a, sedentary job. Now, endurance athletes sometimes require calories from carbs, like a high carb calorie intake, that starts where the average person ends. So for example, someone that has a high endurance training, the amount of carbs that you take in all throughout the day, their carbs may particularly just start at that particular level. Now, although competitive bodybuilders and endurance athletes represents the far end of the fitness spectrum, they actually help illustrate how important it is to actually customize your micronutrients. You see, if you actually want to learn to play basketball, you may want to get knowledge from Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or someone of that nature. But if you want to understand how to really develop your body and get your best body ever, then hey, if you're in the Raleigh, Cary, or Durham area, then hey, you contact me, Taj the Doc, Taj for short, at Your Best Body Ever, and I will get you your best body ever. You gotta come and make it. Now, the first type of body type that I would like to go over is the mesomorph. The mesomorph could actually probably follow almost any micronutrient ratio and actually still good results. I know someone, I know a few people that's actually mesomorphs on a 50-50 diet. So 50% McDonald's and 50% Pizza Hut. And they still grow muscle like weeds and still have ripped abs. Now, I'm in by no way endorsing this approach. I'm just making a point that mesomorphs, body types, could pretty much eat anything that they want to eat. Now, if our genetically gifted mesomorph friends would be more meticulous with their micronutrients and choose more nutritious foods, they will get even better results. So the baseline plan, 50% carbs, 30% protein, and 20% fat would work as well as any. And if you mesomorphs start using that skill for micronutrients, you would actually be super ripped and lean. Now, the next body type that I would actually like to discuss is the ectomorphs. See, the ectomorphs usually isn't concerned with losing body fat. Usually, his or her goal is to gain muscle. I've had a few ectomorphs contact me saying, hey, Taz, I just cannot seem to gain mass. I can't gain weight. I've tried everything. And for gaining muscle, the baseline plan with 50% carbs, 30% protein, and 20% fat is also a good starting point. It's a good starting point. Now, an ectomorph rarely needs to restrict carbs. They really don't need to do that. Now, sometimes eating more fat, and I mean the good fats, such as snacking on walnuts or almonds, for example, actually helps the ectomorph hit their surplus. And the surplus is those extra calories that they need, because dietary fat is calorie dense for the ectomorph. Now, the next one, body type, is the endomorphs. Now, it is the endomorph who needs to pay the most attention to the macronutrients ratio, especially the carbs. Overweight endomorphs are usually more carb intolerant than the general population and have a natural tendency for less activities, so reducing carbs is the most common food adjustment for the endomorph. See, some endomorphs might want to start closer to 40% to 45% carbs, then consider to cut more based on their weekly results or how their body is starting to look. So the adjustment to the baseline ratio for accelerating fat loss is as follows. Now, for short periods when maximum fat loss is the goal, the macronutrient ratio can actually be shifted to more protein and less carbs. Now, in physique sports, where you see some of the leanest bodies in the world, 40% carbs, 40% protein, and 20% fat is one of the most popular micronutrient splits during the fat loss phase. This is only during the fat loss phase. Now, reducing carbs and increasing protein can give you some measurable advantages when it comes to fat loss. Now, it actually increases metabolism through the thermic effect of food and actually helps reduce hunger, makes calorie control easier, and actually protects lean body mass when the calorie deficit gets aggressive. So the best way to do it is to actually cut sugar as much as possible and reduce your intake of calorie-dense starches and grains such as pastas, whole grain bread, whole grain rice, potatoes, cereal, and so on and so forth. What this does is this actually leaves the less calorie-dense fibrous carbs, such as the green vegetables and salads, lean proteins, and healthy fats. So when carbs restriction is actually too extreme, there's an increased risk of side effects such as hunger, low energy, loss of lean tissue. And you don't want to lose lean muscle mass. And this is what happened to many of you that go on these fad diets. I had a lady contact me and say, oh yeah, I lost 7 pounds this week. And I told her, you've lost mostly muscle mass, which is actually counterproductive. Yeah, you're losing weight by way of a starvation diet, but you're losing muscle mass, and that's not what you want to do. So, that's dreaded. Fortunately, even a small reduction in carbs can actually help accelerate fat loss without the side effects of extreme carbs. You don't want to cut down on extremely low carbs. Carb cycling strategies, folks, may help as well. Now, let's take a closer look at how to accelerate fat loss later on in my videos. But I'm going to move on for now. Now, if you're metabolically healthy and active, aim for about 50% carbs, 30% protein, and 20% fat as your baseline. Now, if you're an endomorph, or you want to accelerate fat loss, decrease the carbs and increase the protein to 40% carbs, 40% protein, and 20% fat. It's actually super popular among fitness athletes, models, and physique athletes. Now, using nutritional tracking spreadsheets or software makes calculating your micronutrient ratios very simple. But if you make sure to eat lean protein and a fibrous vegetables and a natural starchy carb with every meal, your numbers will be in the ballpark automatically. So I'll talk a little about the spreadsheet method, and begin to bring this to a close. Don't want to keep you too long, but I'm giving you some very valid and very informative information here. So a simple way to estimate your micronutrients for an individual meal is to follow the 3-2-1 rule. Imagine that your plate is divided into 6 sections. 6 sections like a slice of pie. So you fill up 3 slices, 3/6, or 50% with natural carbs like potatoes, yams, oatmeal, whole grains, fruit, and vegetables. You fill up 2 sections or 2/6 or 33% with lean proteins like egg whites, chicken breast, and fish. And you finish 1 section of your healthy fats, or 1/6 or 17%. This easy method puts you very close to the optimal ratio, and you don't need to be a math wizard to figure out how to do this. So the best and most accurate technique for meal calculation is free, and you probably already have it on your laptop or your desktop computer. It's a plain old spreadsheet like Microsoft Excel. It's that simple. And these days, there are also no shortage of nutrition apps that you can get for your smartphone and so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's real simple to get this, folks, if you want to do it. So these tools make meal planning easy because the spreadsheet are built in and they do the math for you. Or you could actually just get an app on your smartphone, and that'll do the work for you. And again, I went over this before, but keep it in mind: 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So, you know, I've crunched the numbers before, and so I mean, keep that in mind when, you know, doing your calories. So if you hit your target at every meal, then your entire day will take care of itself. But you don't have to worry about making every meal the same amount of carbs and total calories. It's okay if your meal actually varies in size sometimes. For example, your post-workout meal may be larger and actually contain more carbs, because that's the time that you could actually take in more carbs after your post-workout. So, or if you're actually a big breakfast eater, like I am sometimes, your first meal may have more carbs and calories as well. So, your primary goal is to come as close to your micronutrient target as possible when you add it all up for the day. Do you understand? So don't worry about being perfect. If you try to micromanage your micronutrients, you'll probably just drive yourself crazy. Now, if protein, carbs, and fat numbers are within 5% of your target, then hey, you should be fine. That's close enough. Your total daily totals don't really have to add up to 100%. Just come, you know, somewhere within that vicinity. Now, I want to talk to you couch potatoes Couch potato nutrition versus muscle building nutrition. Well, what do you mean, Ty? It's about couch potato nutrition. You see, the recommendations that I'm doing in this video are actually designed to support people involved in resistance and cardio training programs. Now, some conservative or traditional micronutrients tells you, or nutritionists that tell you how to use your micronutrients, actually might tell you that protein is too high. Well, they might say that the government mandated guidelines are sufficient. They might insist that the protein should be at least at only 15%. You see, that's the couch potato advice. That's for the man that's actually just sitting around on his couch and not getting any cardio or resistance training in. That's the couch potato's advice. It has nothing to do with you if you're training hard and pushing your body, transforming it to reach your goal. You see, your success with feed the muscle and burn the fat will be based on how well you consistently combine all 4 elements of the program: micronutrient, cardio training, weight training, and mental training. If you're not training hard, you are not allowing the program to work for you. If you are training hard, your nutrients needs are different from those of men and women that actually sit around and become couch potatoes. So when you see nutrients recommendations for the general population, you must keep this in mind, that the average person is not training, and the minimum and optimum nutrition needs are 2 different concepts. So if you want to get lean and muscular, then do what lean and muscular people do. And at the same time, listen to your body so you can make the right adjustments for you as an individual. There's no one-size-fits-all prescription. You have many trainers. They train all people the same way. You can't do that. That's not a good trainer. Just because someone is a certified personal trainer does not mean that they could train you well. Although it's wise to pursue a healthy balance between micronutrients, a single perfect ratio for everyone does not exist. A single perfect ratio for everyone does not exist. No ratio has any magical fat burning and muscle building properties. No ratio would actually override the law of calorie balance, and any impact nutrient ratios have on weight loss is minimum compared to the effects of calorie levels. No nutrient ratio will prevent metabolic slowdown if the calories are too low. Do you understand? For too long. So if you reduce your calories too low, like they put you on these starvation diets, some of you taking 700 calories a day, well, that slows down your metabolic rate. No nutrient ratio will prevent you from gaining fat if your calories are too high. It's going to go over into the surplus. No nutrient ratio would actually enable you to gain muscle if your calories are too low. If your calories are too low, you're going to burn muscle. You're going to lose weight, but you're burning muscle. Man, what happened to you? You lost weight, but you look really thin. You lost muscle mass because you're not feeding the muscle. So instead of burning the fat, you're burning muscle. No nutrient ratio will work for everyone. Optimal nutrition ratios depends on goals. What are your goals? Differences in body types and carb tolerance. Do you understand? So micronutrient ratios aren't the singular key to fat loss, but they do give you a great way to set up your daily meals and ensure that you get optimum amounts of major essential nutrients. And always remember, regardless of whether you eat high carbs, low carbs, or anywhere in between, if you eat too many carbs, you won't burn fat. I'm going to say that again. If you eat too many carbs, you won't burn fat. I've seen these guys that be at the gym all the time. They're in the gym prior to me arriving, and they're there when I leave, and their bodies never change. They have guts, they're working out, but I know they're not eating properly. They're taking in too many carbs, so they're not burning fat. They all have guts in front of them. So you start with the baseline and then experiment to find out what works best for you. If you think high carbs are problematic for you, then drop the carbs and increase the protein and the fat. If you think you are extremely carb intolerant, or you want to get ripped for a fitness competition, then bring down the carbs and lower the carbs, which actually bumps up the protein ratio to see what happens. Do you understand? So, did you ever notice, in my conclusion, I'm going to ask you this, did you ever notice how some people gravitate towards certain styles of eating without anyone telling them to do it? Why do some people instinctively become vegetarians while others are heavy meat eaters? It's just a question. Why do some people avoid wheat and dairy? It's just a question. Why do some people crave certain foods? The reason is their body tells them so. And wisely, they listen. I'm not a vegetarian. But if your body tells you not to eat much meat, I believe that you should listen to it. You should listen to it. And explore other protein sources. If your body tells you you're carb intolerant, then listen. If you think your carbs are too low, listen. If a certain food disagrees with your stomach, then listen. Listen to your body and pay attention to the results that you get each week. If you navigate only by intuition, that would be not that intelligent. See, you need a plan that's carefully structured. On the other hand, blindly following a program without the flexibility to make adjustments along the way, it's also a recipe for failure. But for my guidance, if you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, or if you continue to subscribe to this YouTube channel, watch these videos, like the videos, share it, then I can help you achieve your best body ever. You gotta make it. So, make the right weekly adjustments. And to do so, it actually requires a scientific approach, real-world feedback, as well as a keen intuition. So the people with the leanest and best bodies in the world are the ones who train hard, eat properly, track their results, and do what their bodies tell them to do. This is true with micronutrients as it is with individual foods. So, in future videos, we will actually take a look at each one of the micronutrients, and you'll learn everything you need to know about protein, carbohydrates, and fat to get leaner, healthier, and more muscular. And with that, I'm going to bring this one to a close. Don't forget to like the video. If you like it, it only takes a second to give a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Once again, you've been listening to Ties from Your Best Body Ever. If you continue to tune in, you too will have your best body ever. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.